This video is brought to you by my new album entitled Dougal's Treats. It's full of hummable melodies, bluesy riffs and the occasional bit of virtuoso flashy stuff as well. If you enjoy bluesy rock guitar with memorable tunes and solos that wail like a banshee, then check out the links in the description. The premium version includes all of the tabs for each tune, videos and jam tracks as well. Thanks for listening. Now on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. What I want to talk about today is a topic that I wrote about in my Patreon blog a few weeks ago, and I thought I'd just kind of give it a bit of a wider airing here, and mainly to see what you think, get some more feedback on this. And the topic under discussion is Spotify and other such music streaming services. I've long been a fan of Spotify. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I did a video on this topic a little while ago as well, where I was kind of saying, how do you listen to music? Are you a vinyl junkie? Have you got like shelves full of CDs, or like kind of a stack of hard drives containing your MP3 collection? Or do you, like me, use streaming services? I've had a Spotify premium subscription for quite some time now, and what that premium subscription allows you to do is you can listen offline. You can download your music and onto I think it's up to 5 devices, and listen to it offline. So you're not at the kind of at the mercy, that's what I'm trying to say. You're not at the mercy of an internet connection. You don't always have to have, you're not munching through your data plan on your phone or, whatever. And that's how I listen to music. I still listen in what I think of as an old school way, because I very, very, very rarely bother with playlists. I like to listen to an album as the artist intended, and that's how I listen. I'll just listen to the album on Spotify rather than listening to it on CD or vinyl or whatever. Vinyl. I lived through the misery of that the first time round. Thank you very much. Anyway, the whole thing of Spotify. I could be labelled something of a hypocrite, because whilst I think it's a good thing overall for the music business, and that will get a lot of people clutching their pearls, I should imagine, that statement, but hopefully I'll back it up. Whilst I think it's a good thing, I've chosen not to release my latest album, Dougal's Treats, link in the description. I've chosen not to release that via Spotify. There's a service called DistroKid where you pay a paltry sum each year, and then they get it up on all the platforms like Spotify and Amazon and Apple Music and all those kind of things for you, and you get to keep all of the income. And that really is the bugbear, all of the income. You get to keep 100% of a very, 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 very tiny amount. These streaming services are notoriously miserly when it comes to giving an income to the artists concerned. I suppose if you're like if you're AC/DC or Queen or something like that, then just the sheer volume of streams that those artists get does generate enough of an income to keep the bean counters happy, because they're having to spend less proportionally on employing the services of a record or CD pressing plant. But for someone like me, a niche artist, so to put it mildly, it's much more financially viable for me to do it the way I've done it, which is to put my music up on Bandcamp. And just to give you a little bit of perspective, what I've earned from this, well, in the first 24 hours of my new album being up on Bandcamp, it had already earned me more than my previous 2 albums had earned me in 12 months on Spotify. That's the magnitude of the difference. So, I don't necessarily think that Spotify is the right solution for me as a content provider or producer, as a musician, but it's certainly the right solution for me as a listener. So you can see where there might be kind of an accusation of a double standard there, and that's what I'm inquiring about. Do you think that I am guilty of having double standards? Let me tell you first, though, why I think Spotify is, overall, it's not without its faults, but why overall it is a positive thing for the music business, right? Once upon a time, way back when I was a young man and I was thin and I had hair and such things, the way the music business worked was that you might lose a bit, if you were a band or an artist, you might lose a little bit of money when you went out on tour. But that didn't matter, because that was getting the album, raising awareness of the album. It was like you were basically doing a big, long kind of round-the-world advertising splurge to sell copies of your new album, and that's where you made your money. And now it's basically the other way around. I pay, I think, 10 or 11 quid a month to Spotify, and I've got unlimited access to pretty much every piece of music ever recorded. And as I say, you can listen offline if you've got the premium subscription. So, bands aren't making any money, or negligible amounts of money, shall we say, compared to what they used to, I suppose, from selling their recorded output. So they have to get out and play live. That's why there are so many more festivals, I suppose, these days. Once upon a time, I'm not being scientific about this, but I remember, you'd have Download, or Monsters of Rock as it was called back then. I'm just talking about UK ones here. You'd have Nebworth, although I don't think that was every year, was it, the Nebworth Festival? And you'd have Glastonbury, and then I'm starting to run out here. But, there are so many more these days. It's because there are so many bands that want to get out and get in front of an audience and earn a living from it. And it's, I suppose, the economies of scale is it costs just as much to hire a big PA and lighting rig and and all the staging stuff and all the logistics. It costs just as much to hire that to put one band on as it does to put 10 bands on. So hence why you get these festivals. That's just my intuitive take on it. If you are an insider in the music business and I'm talking rubbish, then please tell me in the comments. So what's happened is that in order to be able to make a living as a musician, as a recording artist, as someone that writes songs and peddles them to the general public to for consumption, you've better be able to get up on a stage and do it live. Because once upon you could hide in a studio. Anyone remember Sieg Sputnik? Yes, awful band, and to say nothing of Milli Vanilli. These were just essentially male models who were hired by a record company because they could bust a few moves in a music video and lip sync and look gorgeous and attractive in publicity shots, but they couldn't carry a tune in a bucket, and they were exposed. Well, no music impresario is ever going to try that kind of shenanigans again, because the business model won't allow it. You basically have to get out and get in front of an audience and be able to stand on your hind legs and do it live. Otherwise, you can fake something in a studio and put it out there, but you're not going to earn anything from it. So that's why I think that Spotify has overall had a positive impact on the music business. It filters out those people that can't sing and can't play. It means that there's a much more of an emphasis on playing live these days. Live music is more widespread. I think it was. We can have a conversation about how much it costs in terms of tickets for a gig, but don't forget, that these gig tickets are now, essentially the sole and merchandise and stuff like that, I suppose, are now the sole source of income for a lot of these artists that are doing it. I'm not going to, stand up in defence of however much it costs to go and see, this latest Black Sabbath tour, or I'm certainly not making any comments about the dynamic pricing model that ticket companies employ, where you spend 3 hours on the phone and find that the price is at least quadrupled. I'm not going anywhere near that. What I'm saying is that, bands who would just can't be bothered to go out and tour, we're big enough that our albums will sell anyway. They can't get away with that now. They have to go out and do it live, which I think is a good thing. I can't see how it isn't. But yet, here I am saying, well, I'm not going to release my music on Spotify because they don't pay enough. Am I guilty of double standards? Fortunately for me, the recorded music that I write and sell, I said all along, it was basically a vanity project, this latest album, just something I wanted to get off my chest, and if I can recoup some of my costs, then Bandcamp is the most financially viable way of doing that, rather than all like Spotify, Deezer, all the other platforms. But I don't know, I can see how people might think I am, kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth on this. Kind of Spotify bad, they don't pay enough. Spotify good, they've forced bands and artists to play live more than they used to, possibly. Anyway, that's just me rambling and musing over the topic of Spotify and whether it's been a good or a bad thing for the music business. And I don't just mean Spotify, I mean like all similar services, music streaming services, a good or a bad thing for the music business overall. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments, but that is the video for today, folks. Hope you've found it a little bit thought-provoking and enjoyable in some way. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. Don't forget the live stream as well, 5 p.m. every Friday, 5 p.m. UK time, that is every Friday, where we just have a beer and a chat, basically, much like we're doing now, but it's kind of a more a two-way thing. It's a great way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, but above all, stay sane. Bye for now.